let's talk about the doubters. Because for the last couple of years, they've had a lot to say about Shedeur Sanders. And by a lot, I mean an exhausting parade of hot takes, dismissals, and the classic "he hasn't faced real competition yet" energy. You know exactly the type. The analysts on morning shows with coffee breath and nothing fresh to offer. The anonymous Twitter scouts with 14 followers and a keyboard full of resentment. The fans who squint at greatness and still find a way to call it luck. The ones who insisted, loudly, that Shedeur was all hype, all flash, just the privileged kid riding Primetime's name like a first-class ticket to the NFL. But here's the thing about doubters.
If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed.
Arguments? Dead. Gone. Absolutely cooked. And the final nail in that narrative's coffin? Patrick Mahomes. When Mahomes, the literal face of the NFL, the Super Bowl MVP, the highlight reel king, the one-man dynasty factory, goes out of his way to praise Shedeur Sanders, there's no coming back from that. You can't spin it. You can't ignore it. You can't keep calling him overrated when the king of the league just said, "That kid has everything you want in a quarterback." Not, "some potential." Not, "he might get there." Everything. So now all the eye rolls and cheap criticisms? They look embarrassing. All the clips of Shedeur calmly dropping 40-yard dimes under pressure? They hit differently. All those off-season workouts he posted, every moment in the rain, every throw on the run, every rep in silence, suddenly feel like scenes from a prophecy. Because while the doubters were talking, Shedeur was working. And now he's not just knocking on the NFL's door. He's about to kick it off the hinges. Let's be clear, this wasn't a fluke. Shedeur's rise didn't happen because his dad has charisma or because his highlights went viral. It happened because he earned it. Every inch of it. He earned the hype. He earned the spotlight. And now, with Mahomes publicly handing him a megaphone and saying, "Pay attention to this guy," the entire league is being forced to sit up and admit what the doubters refused to. Shedeur Sanders is the real deal. So how did this all happen? It wasn't magic. It was mastery. Built brick by brick, game by game, rep by rep. Let's go back for a second. Remember when people said he was just a product of Dion's system? That his numbers were padded because of easy competition? That he wouldn't last one quarter against SEC-level defenses? And then he dropped 510 yards in a single game. Calm, efficient, unbothered. And still they said, "Okay, but let's see how he handles pressure." So he did that too. Handled blitz packages like he was flipping through a magazine. Rolled out, stepped up, diagnosed entire defenses in real time and punished them with throws that looked like they were drawn by a laser pointer. Still not convinced? Let's talk poise. Because that's the word Mahomes didn't say but absolutely meant. Shedeur isn't just talented, he's in control. Of the game. Of the tempo. Of the moment. And in a league that chews up and spits out rookie quarterbacks like sunflower seeds, that's what separates the highlight machines from the franchise guys. That's what Mahomes saw. Not just the footwork or the accuracy or the arm, but the presence. That same unshakable presence Mahomes himself had when he stepped into the league. And now, he sees it in Shedeur. That's not just a compliment. That's a torch being passed. And the ripple effects? Immediate. Draft boards are scrambling. GMs are making calls. Fan bases that were half asleep are wide awake now, demanding their teams get in position to draft Shedeur. The mood has shifted. The stakes have changed. And the players already in the league? Some of them are sweating. Because no one wants to admit it out loud, but a lot of mid-tier starters just got put on unofficial notice. One endorsement from Mahomes is all it took to move Shedeur from intriguing prospect to imminent threat. And for every team that's clinging to a QB with a maybe future, this just became a very uncomfortable situation. You think Mahomes saying that was accidental? No. That was calculated. Strategic. A subtle warning shot to the league that a new era is forming. A reminder that greatness recognizes greatness, even before the world does. And Mahomes is never wrong about quarterbacks. So what happens now? Now we wait. Wait for the draft. Wait for that first press conference. Wait for that first preseason game when Shedeur steps onto an NFL field and doesn't just play, he commands. The minute that happens, the doubters will go into hiding. The critics will pivot. The talking heads will start using words like elite potential and future face of the league. You know, the same people who said he wasn't NFL ready 3 months ago. But we'll remember. We'll remember who believed, who watched the tape, who saw it coming. And we'll remember who needed Mahomes to say it before they finally admitted it was true. But you know who doesn't care about any of that? Shedeur Sanders. Because while the internet argues, he's still working. While fans fantasize about future matchups, he's back in the lab, breaking down film, cleaning up mechanics, planning the next move. He's not worried about proving people wrong anymore. He's focused on proving himself right. And that's what should scare everyone else. Because this isn't a kid trying to get a shot. This is a young man already preparing to lead. And when that moment comes, when he walks onto an NFL field with a Real jersey, Real plays, real expectations, it won't feel like a debut. It'll feel like a changing of the guard. So now it's your turn. Where do you stand? Were you riding the Shedeur wave before Mahomes said a word? Or are you just now realizing that the future of the NFL might be wearing sunglasses and throwing ropes like he's been here for a decade? Do you believe the hype? Or are you clinging to the last threads of "we'll see"? Sound off in the comments. I want the takes. The bold ones. The spicy ones. Tell me which team should tank for Shedeur. Tell me if he's a future MVP or already better than half the league. And don't forget to subscribe, because this saga, this rise, this absolute overhaul of the quarterback landscape is just beginning. You're not just watching the NFL evolve. You're watching it get reborn. One throw at a time. The Mahomes endorsement was not the climax. That was just the inciting incident. The turning point. The moment the storm clouds finally cracked open and revealed the incoming quarterback reckoning. Because make no mistake, Shedeur isn't just entering the league with buzz. He's arriving with momentum. With purpose. With that rare combination of timing, talent, and a chip on his shoulder the size of AT&T Stadium. And now, he has the blessing of the NFL's reigning monarch. Let's sit with that for a minute. Patrick Mahomes didn't just give a casual compliment in passing. He didn't hedge or deflect. He looked directly into the media lens and declared, "He's got everything you want in a quarterback." Translation? The man who's already shaping NFL history with no-look passes, comeback drives, and Super Bowl rings just pulled the curtain back and said, "Watch this kid. He's next." You don't come back from that as a maybe. You step forward as a must-watch, must-draft, must-invest in franchise savior. And now, the entire NFL has to adjust its course. Immediately. Let's talk logistics. Front offices? They're already calling emergency meetings. Scouts are being sent back into the field like it's a Cold War op. Film rooms are lit up. Quarterback coaches are fielding the same question from owners across the league. Is Shedeur our guy? And if they're not asking it, they're already behind. Because it's not just about his stats anymore. It's not even about his mechanics, his deep ball, his release time, or his reads. It's about his gravitational pull. Shedeur doesn't just elevate a team's offense. He elevates the entire franchise conversation. Ticket sales, brand identity, fan engagement, national relevance. This kid walks in and suddenly people care. Suddenly your sleepy 5-win team is on the front page of NFL Twitter. Suddenly your franchise is hosting primetime games again. Suddenly you're not rebuilding, you're rebranding. That's the power of a quarterback who comes with a story. Not just talented rookie, but the future arriving early. And Mahomes knew that when he spoke. That's why it hit so hard. Because no one understands what it means to carry that kind of expectation better than Mahomes. He lived it. And now he's pointing to Shedeur and saying, he's ready for the same weight. Let's talk about that weight, by the way. Because Shedeur has been carrying it for years, and doing it with a level of composure that's honestly unnerving. Most players, hell, most adults, break under the kind of pressure he's faced. Imagine being a teenager and your dad is Deion Sanders. Already the expectations are absurd. Now imagine you decide to follow in his footsteps, but at quarterback, not cornerback. Different position, different legacy, entirely different challenge. Now imagine you don't just survive the comparisons, you outwork them. You don't lean on the name. You build your own, game by game, throw by throw, season by season. Now imagine Patrick Mahomes looks at that story and says, yeah, he's one of us. That's not hype anymore. That's lineage. That's the NFL's elite welcoming their next member. And it's not just Mahomes. You better believe there are other top-tier QBs watching this unfold right now with their own quiet reactions. Some are nodding in respect. Some are studying his tape in secret. And some? Well, some are feeling a little threatened. Because here's the uncomfortable truth that no one wants to say on camera. Not every starter is safe anymore. Some of these guys? They're one bad half away from becoming a clipboard holder. And now Shedeur is looming over every single depth chart in the league like a preseason specter. Because he doesn't just look ready, He looks inevitable. Every practice rep, every viral clip, every crisp rollout and bullet pass. He's not developing. He's auditioning. And the audition is looking more and more like a declaration. Now let's talk about what happens next, because you know the NFL is story-driven. It thrives on arcs, on rivalries, on poetic symmetry. And Shedeur's arc? It's already shaping up to be legendary. Imagine the build-up to draft night. The tension. The media frenzy. The comparisons to other QB prospects who might have a stronger resume on paper, but none of the momentum. Because you can't quantify what Shedeur is doing with stats alone. He's commanding the spotlight. And every time he touches the ball, you feel it. That sense that something special is about to happen. That sense that you're watching the beginning of something big. Not just next great quarterback, but next great leader. And that's why Mahomes' statement was so loaded. Because if Shedeur was just another raw talent, Mahomes wouldn't have said a word. But this is Mahomes looking at the future and giving it his official seal of legitimacy. He's not threatened. He's inspired. That's what a true king does when he sees someone worthy of the throne, not gatekeep but guide. So what are we looking at now? Let's just say the offseason got a whole lot more interesting. Because the Shedeur conversation has leapfrogged the casual talking points. He's not just the third QB taken, or developmental project. He's now being whispered in the same breath as day one starters. Every interview, every training camp rep, every mic'd up moment, it's now evidence. The Mahomes quote opened the door. Shedeur's about to walk right through it, flip the light switch, and make himself comfortable. And when he does, the NFL won't just have a new face. It'll have a new voice. Because this is about more than passing touchdowns and QBR. It's about what Shedeur represents. A new standard. A new culture. A quarterback who embraces the spotlight but doesn't need it. Who can talk NIL, social impact, branding, and then break down a defense mid-snap like he's been doing it since birth. He's modern. He's grounded. He's dangerous. And thanks to Patrick Mahomes, he's now officially undeniable. The Shedeur Sanders saga? It's not just compelling. It's not just entertaining. It's turning into a full-blown football fable in real time. A generational talent rising from under the weight of legacy, defying critics, and now, thanks to Patrick Mahomes, it's crystal clear. This is no longer a story about potential. This is about power. And when we talk about power in the NFL, we're not just talking about arm strength or athleticism. We're talking about influence. About the players who change the way the game is played. About quarterbacks who walk into an organization and don't just fit in, they reshape it. And if you think that's too much pressure to put on a rookie, you haven't been paying attention to who Shedeur Sanders is. Let's break it down, because what's happening right now isn't normal. Most quarterback prospects? They come in hoping to win the locker room. Hoping to develop under a veteran. Hoping to soak it all in for a year or two. Safe, passive, acceptable. But Shedeur? He's showing up with presence. And when I say presence, I don't mean charisma or a good quote in the press conference. I mean he walks in and the air changes. There's something unshakable about him. Something that says, I know why I'm here. And I know exactly what I came to do. And here's the kicker. Mahomes saw that too. You think Mahomes is sitting around just handing out compliments? Nah. The man is a tactician. He's not just the face of the league, he's the bar for quarterbacks right now. He knows exactly what it takes to not just survive but dominate in this league. So when Mahomes stops and says, Shedeur's got everything you want in a quarterback, that's not just high praise. That's insider confirmation. That's code for, this guy's ready now. Not in 3 years. Not when he finds the right coach. Not after he rides the bench behind some washed-up starter. No, let's be real. Mahomes knows the position better than anyone. He's seen guys with all the talent in the world flame out because they didn't have the mental makeup to handle what comes next. The film room grind. The late nights. The isolation. The losses. The media circus. And somehow Mahomes saw all of that readiness in Shedeur. So if you're still clinging to the old, we'll see how he does under pressure, argument? Buddy, we've already seen it. This kid has lived under pressure his entire life. The son of Deion Sanders doesn't get to fly under the radar. Shedeur has been playing quarterback with a spotlight in his face and a target on his back since high school. And every time he's been tested, he's answered with execution. College games? Dominated. Media narratives? Rewritten. Locker room leadership? Earned, not gifted. Now, for the first time, the NFL is realizing what some of us already knew. This isn't a story of hype catching up to reality, this is reality outpacing the hype. And that's a dangerous thing for every franchise that slept on him. Because this moment, this Mahomes spotlight, it's forcing the entire league to look again. To really look at the arm strength, at the decision-making, at the football IQ, at the composure under chaos. And when they look, what they're seeing is terrifying, because this isn't just a kid who's ahead of schedule. This is a quarterback who could walk into your team's facility tomorrow and take over. Let's talk about how fast this could move. Let's say Shedeur lands with a franchise that's tired of being mid. A team that's been patchworking their quarterback situation with recycled veterans, fourth-round projects, and give him one more year, guys. You don't think they're ready to throw Shedeur into the fire on day one? Please. If you've got a fan base desperate for a spark, for an identity, for a reason to believe again, Shedeur isn't a maybe. He's a reset button. He's a day one starter who already looks like a franchise leader. He's the guy whose jersey you start selling the second he's drafted. He's the quarterback who makes your team relevant again. And in a league where relevance equals revenue, that's everything. And let's not forget the media machine that's now fully locked onto this. Shedeur isn't just being covered, he's being studied. Analysts are combing through his college tape like it's the Dead Sea Scrolls. Clips of his pre-snap reads, pocket movement, and sideline leadership are going viral on football TikTok like it's an entirely new genre of content. And you know what that tells us? The world is already adjusting to him. They're watching not just to critique, but to learn. Because whether you love him or hate him, Shedeur is now a blueprint for how the modern quarterback is built. Not just in skills, but in mindset, in brand control, in composure. This isn't a flash-in-the-pan story. This isn't a one good season run. This is the beginning of something foundational. And you know what's wild? Shedeur still doesn't talk like someone who thinks he's made it. He's not tweeting out Mahomes' quote like a victory lap. He's not retweeting fan hype or gloating in the spotlight. He's just getting back to work. Because for Shedeur, the Mahomes moment, it wasn't a climax. It was a checkpoint. Another step forward. Another reminder that he's exactly where he's supposed to be. And maybe that's the most dangerous thing about him. He's not trying to prove anything anymore. He's just doing what he was built to do. Compete. Win. So if you're in the NFL and you're still sleeping on this, still thinking you've got time to build around what you've got, you're already behind. Because while you're hedging bets and tweaking schemes, Shedeur Sanders is out there, preparing to take your job, your fans, and your franchise spotlight. And the craziest part? He's not even rushing. He knows it's coming. He feels it coming. And now, thanks to Mahomes, the rest of the world feels it too. By now, we've dissected the Mahomes moment, the immediate fallout, the media chaos, the GM panic, and the slow, dawning realization that Shedeur Sanders isn't just ready. He's positioned. Perfectly. But let's go a layer deeper. Because what's happening here isn't just about football. It's not just about throwing mechanics or scouting reports or 40-yard dash times. This is about narrative power. About someone stepping into the NFL not just to win games, but to redefine how we talk about quarterbacks entirely. And if that sounds dramatic, good. Because this is dramatic. Think about what Shedeur's emergence means. Really think about it. This is a player who, at every level, has been doubted. Not because of a lack of talent, but because he didn't play the game the way the system expected him to. He wasn't the silent grinder with no social presence. He wasn't the small-town kid with the humble backstory and vanilla quotes. He wasn't the wait my turn type. He came in with swagger, with presence, with the audacity to own his name, his image, and his expectations, and still deliver on the field. And now he's threatening to become the new standard. This goes beyond stats. This is about changing the prototype. Because for years, decades even, the league has operated on a certain template when it comes to quarterbacks. Quiet, polished, safe. And anytime someone came in who strayed from that mold, someone with style, with flash, with a voice, they were told to tone it down. Keep it corporate. Keep it coachable. Don't ruffle feathers. But Shedeur? He ruffles them just by being authentic. And what makes him so dangerous, so inevitable, is that he has both the flash and the fundamentals. He can show up in sunglasses and a diamond chain, then step on the field and dissect a defense like a neurosurgeon with a grudge. He can pull up to interviews with primetime levels of charisma and still break down zone coverages like he's been doing it since kindergarten. He's the bridge between the old and the new. And the league has never seen anything quite like that at this level. So of course people are nervous. Of course there's pushback. Because Shedeur's rise isn't just about Shedeur, it's about what comes after him. It's about the kids watching him right now, the ones who are told they need to change who they are to be taken seriously as quarterbacks. It's about the future of player development, the future of branding, the future of leadership in this league. He's not just a top draft pick waiting to happen. He's a cultural pivot point. And Mahomes? Mahomes saw that, felt it, knew it. That's why his praise mattered so much. It wasn't just a talent acknowledgement, it was a passing of legitimacy from one generational leader to the next. Because Mahomes has been that bridge too. He's been the guy who combined creativity with control, flash with fundamentals. He knows what it feels like to be doubted for doing things differently, and then shutting everybody up with wins. So when Mahomes says, Shedeur's got everything, he's not just validating the skill set. He's validating the blueprint. He's saying, you don't have to be what they expect. You just have to be excellent. And Shedeur? He's already proving that, without even taking an NFL snap. Let's shift gears a bit and talk about the emotional side of this. Because for Shedeur, this isn't just a personal climb, it's a deeply public one. Every throw, every misstep, every reaction, it's all under a microscope. He's not just playing for a team. He's playing under the glare of legacy, expectation, and, for some people, resentment. Because not everyone wants him to succeed. Some people need him to fall short, to confirm their biases, to keep the archetype comfortable and familiar. But Shedeur? He's not playing for them. He's playing for every kid who's been told they're too much. Every young athlete who's been labeled cocky when they were simply confident. Every player who was told to be quiet and fit in when they were born to stand out and lead. That's what's really at stake here. And that's why, for so many of us watching, this story hits deeper than a preseason stat line or a draft projection. It feels personal. Because in Shedeur, we're watching someone build a throne that wasn't offered to him. He didn't inherit it. He didn't sneak into it. He built it step by step with sweat and silence and every single doubter's voice playing in the background like a motivational tape. And now, he's ready to sit in it. Not just because Mahomes said so, but because the work said so. The preparation said so. The performances said so. And the people, the real ones, are saying it now too. So when the draft hits and the cameras are flashing, and Shedeur walks out in that suit with his head high, that won't be the beginning of his story. That will be the start of the reckoning. Because when he gets that first NFL snap, when he stands behind center and sees that defense line up across from him, he won't see pressure. He'll see validation. The I told you so moment he's been working toward since day one. The moment every doubter gets quiet. And every believer gets loud. Alright, let's bring it home. You've been riding this wave with me, so let's hear it. Are you all in on the Shedeur Sanders train? Are you seeing what Mahomes saw? Do you believe he's about to change the game? Or are you still holding on to the old ways of thinking? Drop it in the comments. Go off. Be bold. Name the team he should land on. Predict his rookie stats. Call your shot. And if you're not subscribed yet, what are you doing? This isn't just about football, it's about watching the NFL evolve in real time. And Shedeur? He's the one holding the steering wheel. Stay locked in. Because this story, it's about to go next level.